Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Bandwidth for TWiT specials is provided by CacheFly at CACHEFLY.com.
This is TWiT Live Special 251, Microsoft's IFA press conference. This TWiT Live Special is brought to you by Braintree. If you're working on a mobile app and searching for the right payments API, check out Braintree V.0 SDK. With one simple integration, your customers get every way to pay. To learn more and to try out the sandbox, go to braintreepayments.com/twit. All right, everybody, welcome to our live stream coverage. I like to call it a live blab of the Microsoft IFA event. I don't know what they're going to announce, and we've got an esteemed panel of extreme experts to talk about this. We're starting with Paul Thurott, of Thurott.com. Who else is going to write for Thurott.com? Welcome to the show. Welcome to the stream, Paul.
Thank you very much. I'm not sure about esteemed, but I appreciate it. Good to see you.
You are esteemed. I personally esteem you, so you got at least one person
is good as well.
You. Yes, yes. And we've also got Brad Sams, executive editor for, is it Petrie or Petrie? I see it
Petrie
constantly. We writers never know how to say stuff.
We know how to write things, but not say things.
Yes.
That's why we get paid to write.
Yeah, I don't really know how to spell either. All right, Brad. Well, thank you so much for coming on the stream today. So obviously this is a great panel. We don't have a stream yet. They're not coming through on the stream. We don't have truck schedule. We don't have Chinese translation. None of that stuff yet. So while we're waiting for that, Paul, do you have any idea what the heck they're going to talk about today? I mean, obviously their title of the stream is suggestive. They're going to talk about the stuff that we already know about that will be running Windows 10. But what are your thoughts on what they're going to talk about today?
So here's what I'm going to say is that very late July, I heard from a top Microsoft executive that they were announcing no hardware at all today. And if Microsoft announces any hardware today, I'm going to out who that person was to embarrass him, because I'm tired of that kind of thing happening. But my expectation is that Microsoft does not announce any of its own hardware, but instead talks about the third-party, PC makers and hardware devices that are coming from other companies. And we've already seen some of it earlier in the week. I think there's going to be some repetition, and hopefully there'll be some stuff that companies have saved just for this, for this moment.
But you don't expect Microsoft to say, here's a new Microsoft product of some kind that you hadn't heard about before. Check it out. You think this is going to be like, here's our partner?
But that's because of what I've heard, like I said.
Yeah. And
things change, obviously.
And they have another event coming up in October. At which point?
Well, presumably.
Presumably. Right. At which point?
And by the way, I should point out, when I got this information in July, I was told that the phones would be introduced in September in New York City, and that there would be a separate event for Surface and a separate event for the Microsoft Band. And now we're hearing rumors, which are increasingly credible, that they plan to do all three at a single event. And I'm not sure if that's New York or San Francisco or Redmond or whatever. I don't know. And I don't know if it's really true that they're going to do all three at one event, but that is what we're hearing.
All right. Okay, Brad, anything to add to that, Brad? You want to go out on a limb and predict anything? What do you think they're going to talk about today?
So I think it's going to be a big OEM play. If they do any first-party hardware, that will be, as Paul pointed out, a pretty big shock, mostly because Microsoft has taken the stance to announce their own hardware at their own events, and they don't want to get overshadowed by their partners. So knowing that, I can't see them coming out with their own phone and then the other OEM saying, oh, well, we just got trumped by Microsoft yet again. And so I think we're going to see a slathering of third-party hardware. I bet we see a lot of talk about Continuum, because that's a big play. I also think we'll probably hear some more about Windows 10 Mobile potentially. With Microsoft being on stage, they really want to upsell that right now. And this is probably the perfect venue to start that conversation. But to the rumors and posts that went out yesterday that we're going to see Surface Pro 4 today, I don't foresee that happening to any degree.
You know, Microsoft has been pretty good lately at being surprising. Of course, they're big. You know, we got burned before because when they rolled out the HoloLens, we did a live stream, and if you recall from that live stream, they were talking boring stuff, and we finally got, this is just too boring. We're going to move on. And then we moved on with our lives, and then immediately afterwards they announced HoloLens.
I think you've recognized Microsoft's problem in a nutshell. Everyone has moved on with their lives, so when they do something exciting, no one notices.
That's exactly right.
That might be the company in a nutshell.
But for today's stream, I think that it seems likely, given their recent couple of announcements, that they're going to surprise us with something. It's got of their own, and so I would be surprised if they didn't actually surprise us with something. So this
is like the conversation in Princess Bride, where one of them is poison and the other one isn't, and you kind of go back and forth. There's logic to what you're saying. Microsoft has eluded logic for a long time, so I don't know. I mean, listen. I hope they do say something exciting, because otherwise we're going to be in trouble. Well, just selfishly, I would like that to happen.
Yeah, and I think that. I think that it's great that that they're going to be, assuming you guys are right, and I'm sure you are, that they're going to be showcasing partners and showing us some new stuff from other companies. That would be great as well. I wrote a column recently about how I'm trying to encapsulate. Everybody's trying to describe the new Microsoft, and there's clearly something new here. It's clearly a new company. There's clearly a new vibe, and one of the things that I talked about in my column was that they're doing things that I think the reputations of Google and Microsoft, to a certain extent, are the opposite of what the companies are becoming. And what I mean by that is you have technologies like, for example, Google announces Now on Tap, which is this way for to have for the virtual assistants to grab contextual information from whatever's on the screen, right? And it requires developer buy-in. It's a big thing. They announced it a long time ago. It's a long-term play. And then Microsoft comes in before Google actually can implement this, and they come out with something that is very, very similar for Bing. And well, you would think that it would work the other way. Like Microsoft would have the long play that requires all this developer buy-in.
I'm not refuting what you just said, but it's funny, because of my deep usage and understanding of and love of Windows Phone, when I see that on tap feature, what I see is conceptually, not technologically, something that Microsoft did implement back in 2010, which was that notion for live tiles and for integrated experiences in that platform, where you didn't really think about apps when you wanted to get something done. You thought, well, I want to do something with my photos. And it didn't really matter. This was the plan, by the way, it never really happened, but it didn't matter if you were on Flickr or Google Photos or whatever it was called at the time, Picasa Web, whatever. Microsoft stuff at the time, which was probably called SkyDrive, that all of your photo stuff would be in this one integrated experience. And that required buy-in from app developers, and none of them bought into it because, of course, from the perspective of the Facebooks of the world, the Flickrs of the world, whoever, they're promoting their brand. They want you to go into their app and do their stuff. And so it was one of those things, it's sort of holistically kind of a nice idea. For users, it's a fantastic idea. And the interesting thing about Google Now or Siri, proactive Siri, and what Microsoft is doing with Cortana is that I think those things become the future UI of phones. But Microsoft had their own idea for that with live tiles and integrated experience in Windows Phone. It never went anywhere with developers, certainly not with users either. And we've been dealing with very simplistic UIs with tap a button, app comes up, go back home, tap another button, app comes up, that kind of thing. And so I think we get there. But I look at this as kind of the next rev of this. Like this kind of stuff makes a lot more sense when everything is an online service. And the question is still whether app developers do buy into it, because I could see Facebook, Flickr, Yahoo, whoever, saying, no, I don't want to be channeled through your thing. I want users to come to me.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that, along the lines of amazing things that Microsoft is doing from a technology perspective, if the magic software fairy came floating down into the brick house right now and granted me one wish for
he looks exactly like Bill Gates, by the way.
Exactly, with wings and a little, one of those things. I would want them to come out with an English language version of, how do you say it? Xiaoice?
I don't even know what it is.
Okay, so Microsoft came out with this it's not a virtual assistant, it's a virtual friend. It's a thing you interact with, and it's huge in China.
I was going to say, is that the Chinese version that they came out with? It even has, I think, its own Twitter handle that you can interact with, too.
Yes. And so what Chinese users are doing is they're befriending this thing. Some huge percentage of users actually lovingly tell this thing, I love you.
Yeah.
They have these conversations.
Well, by the way, this is, now we're getting into psychology, right? So if you were to watch people use Siri or Google now with, however, I can't remember how you get it with your voice, but whatever that is, or Hey Cortana, right? Yeah. You know, people start to, as these things become more sophisticated, people think they're having a real discussion, right? Yeah. So you say something like, Siri, what's the weather today? Which is probably too basic for this example, but, and then Siri tells you, and then at the end the person says, thank you.
Yeah.
You know, like the thing at the other end has any understanding of that or cares or is a sentient being that would acknowledge you.
But Siri, both Siri and Alexa will actually respond in a playful way with variety and stuff like that. What's interesting about this, I think, and that makes it seem like something Google would have done, but they didn't do it, and Microsoft did it. And by the way, all the virtual assistants can be ranked on how human they are, you know, how well they convince you that they're a person. And Google now is the least human.
Yeah, right now it is, yeah.
Right now it is. And I think Alexa or Siri is probably the most. But this Shao Yisan, please, chat room, tell me how to say this, for crying out loud. If anybody speaks Mandarin. But what they do is they mine conversations on the Chinese social media site in a big data fashion, and they look for things people have said and what the responses have been, and they bring all that in. And so when you talk to it, you're talking to the hive mind of the Chinese social media world, really. But it feels like
that is a very Google thing to do. Yes. I am astonished they don't. Well, there might be privacy concerns, and we all know how much Google cares about privacy.
Yeah, they deeply.
It's interesting.
Yeah, and so number one, Microsoft is the company doing this, and number two, they're doing it in China. I would love to see an English language version of this.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder why they're not doing it.
It does. Yes, it does. It could be, in fact, a privacy thing. I mean, they're hammering away at Google for the privacy violations, and so for them to do something like this,
there's a lot of these things the companies can do but won't, you know, for various reasons. Microsoft years ago the Office team had told me years and years ago how they had reverse engineered the PDF format and could have added compatibility directly to Office probably 10 years ago, and obviously they wouldn't do that because Adobe was a big partner. They wanted to work with them. And I think that stuff not working out is what led to Microsoft making that crazy document format that they added to, I don't know if it was 7 or Vista, XPS, and which went nowhere. And now, of course, in Office, they just, you know, they just partner with Adobe.
Yeah.
Oh, Microsoft, you and your extravagant ideas, and it could have been. The thing with Microsoft is they're generally, at least the past few years, so far ahead that they end up being caught behind. Perfect example is the Google Now on Tap. I mean, they had that, but they didn't implement it or didn't market it correctly, and they also didn't have the market share.
I mean,
that's the story of Microsoft.
Yeah, I mean, but we're in this rapid release world, you know, Microsoft calls it, but the truth is, you know, you see these things happen elsewhere. You know, every day there's new announcements about new stuff, and you know, Microsoft is coming. Here's like a Office snip, or here's this, or Cortana adds this in this one place or whatever. But I'm not actually, you know, Microsoft is moving quickly for Microsoft. It's not actually clear to me that they're moving quickly overall. I mean, obviously, a company as big as Microsoft, you can look at various parts of it and say, well, for Windows, you know, the Windows team is moving incredibly fast. It actually is pretty amazing. You know, other parts of Microsoft, not so much. And they're not moving particularly quick on Windows Mobile. I mean, we haven't gotten a build of that thing in, what, 7 years or whatever? Yeah. I mean, it seems like it's been a long time.
Yeah.
It's speaking of Windows Mobile, I bet we see, and we've already seen it a little bit with the announcements this week, we're going to see the return of the lingo of the Pocket PC.
Yeah.
That's going to come back. It's going to come back stronger than ever. And I think we've already seen it this week. And I'm going to be curious to see if we see that theme on stage here, that now your PC truly is in your pocket this time around.
Is what's the Brad Pitt movie? Is it Benjamin Button where he reverse ages?
Yes.
So is the next thing after, or Flowers from Algernon, if you want to use a more apt thing for Microsoft? Do they go to like Windows CE after that, and then like I mean, like how dumb does it get? We're just going to keep going back in time. Remember the '90s? We love the '90s.
Yeah.
Let's name everything like
awaiting
that.
my flip phone.
We've invented a command line interface. It's black with yellow. So here's a big question for both you guys. There's a trend. I don't know if it's in the industry. I don't know if users will accept this trend. But of course, on Wednesday we're expecting Apple to announce a 13-inch iPad. Samsung has already announced an 18.4, I believe, inch Android tablet. Will Surface go along with that trend? Will we see a 18-inch Surface Pro at any point in the near future?
I don't know about an 18-inch.
Right.
So you got to get out the salt shaker, and I know it's very early to put salt around the top of your margarita, but DigiTimes is claiming that they're going to come out with a 14-inch. Now, DigiTimes has a really interesting track record with Microsoft.
Generally interesting as a percentage.
As a percentage, it's terrible. The only thing that DigiTimes has going for it is that they accurately predicted the first Surface before it came out, almost by a year.
Right.
And they do have that going for them. I have no idea about this 14-inch. I know that Microsoft has contemplated at points in time different size devices. We know that they did the mini, and then they scrapped that. And then they came out with this larger size. So it wouldn't behoove them to go larger, especially if the industry is pushing that way. But I don't know how large. I think 18-inch might be a little too big for that. I think it's 14-inch would be more of the sweet spot.
Well,
yeah, I think. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Paul.
Well, I was just going to say, I think Microsoft needs to hit the traditional size point for productivity workers, for the business audience, and that's 13, 14 inches. I'd like to see something even bigger personally. A 15-inch Surface Ultrabook would be so awesome for me personally, but I realize me and 3 other people would buy that. But yeah, I understand the point of the Surface, but with that Lenovo device that was introduced this week, you have to sort of think, that thing is so close to Surface. Does this indicate that they worked together on that there was an agreement there, some kind of a licensing deal perhaps? Does that indicate that Microsoft might be moving in a different direction now that they feel like they've made their point with these transforming 2-in-1 type devices? We could speculate for the next, 30, 40 days, I guess, depending on when that announcement is.
And we will.
Yeah, and we will. Yeah.
This TWiT Live special is brought to you by Braintree. If you're working on a mobile app and searching for the right payments API, check out Braintree V.0 SDK. With one simple integration, your customers get every way to pay. Braintree will make it super, super easy for you to implement payments the way that Uber did, the way that Munchery and Hotel Tonight and Airbnb and lots of the biggest unicorns in Silicon Valley who integrated Braintree when they were small, scrappy startups, and Braintree has grown with them as they become these big companies that we all know and love. And one of the reasons we love them is because their payments process is what I would call invisible. When you use Uber, you get in a car, you go for your ride, you get out, and at no point do you interface with the payments process. That's because Uber is using Braintree for the payments, and it just makes it so it's beyond easy. You actually don't have to interface with it, and Braintree solves the biggest problem in mobile commerce, which is cart abandonment. Customers come to get your product or service, and they want to pay for it. They want to be your customer, but so many of the experiences of paying for things online in mobile apps is such a pain. It's so complex. It's so difficult. It's so time-consuming, it's so irritating that people leave without the thing that they came for. Braintree gets rid of mobile cart abandonment. They make it so fast and easy for your customers that they will complete their transaction. And it'll give you so many benefits. It'll give you so many currencies, more than 130 currencies, and you can take MasterCard, American Express, Discover, Diners Club, PayPal, Apple Pay, Venmo, Visa. You can even take Bitcoin. And again, all with that single integration, no monthly or minimum fees, no red tape, and you only pay for the transactions that you process. Braintree is an easy way to accept multiple payment types with one integration. Quick, knowledgeable developer support if you have any questions. With the Braintree V.0 SDK, one small snippet of code, and you're all set up in less than 10 minutes. Check out Braintree today and join the Android Pay beta at braintreepayments.com/twit. I for one, speaking of minorities, have been cheerleading for Microsoft to come out with a consumer version of what they now call the Surface Pro, a very large desktop touch tablet. Bill Gates has been talking about it for a decade. The idea that you're going to have a big touch tablet with voice, pen, all their interfaces. I think a big segment of the world is ready for it. I don't necessarily think it would be more like the Hub. I would like to see a giant Surface Pro type thing, but a desktop computer that runs Windows, that's very large, that is my desk. It's not on the desk. It is the desk. It can set at a drafting tab angle where you can conjure up a keyboard, virtual on-screen full-size keyboard anywhere. You can put documents all over, move them around, where you can lay it flat and put things on it and have it, like, you know, detect when you put a phone on and do the stuff that the old projector Surface used to do years ago for retail applications. So you can put it up vertically to watch TV or give presentations. It seems so obvious to me. So obvious that that's the future.
I don't know, conclusion, but where this heads is the notion that everything is a display. And I sort of anticipate sitting down on a plane, the surface of the back of the chair is the screen for me. The tray is the key, the glass type keyboard. Yeah. And just by virtue of my, it probably sees me with a camera, or I can do a fingerprint thing. Now I have access to everything that I have out in the world, whatever it might be, and I can watch movies on HBO because I subscribe to that. I could listen to music on whatever service I listen to. I think that maybe that's where we're heading. I mean, just the notion of getting up from this computer. Today we all do this kind of thing. I sit here in my home office. I go out to my living room. I pick up a laptop, but I have to. It's slightly manual, right? I open the laptop. Things need to sync up. Just to make that stuff more seamless would be so nice.
Well, I went through this. Go ahead, Paul.
I was just going to say my frustration with this is that Microsoft's reputation is they come out with something that's good, but it's too late, and it does so. Therefore, it doesn't matter. They've done it multiple times in consumer marketplace. I think the giant, big-ass tablet is their opportunity to completely lead, to clearly lead. They have Perceptive Pixel. They have Pixel Sense Division. I don't know how those two work. They have the Surface Hub. They've been in this market. They've had a touch display since before the iPhone. So this is their opportunity to say this is what the future looks like, and stop dorking around with following others when they've in fact had all the technologies for years.
You're talking about Zune, obviously there.
And Windows.
Look, I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, years ago, it was Windows Vista when Apple was hammering them really hard. They were slow to market with getting the performance updated. And I had a conversation with them. How do we fix this? How do we get people to stop waiting for a Service Pack 1? I mean, how do we move forward? How do we change that perception? This is a long time ago. And my answer then was, you have to do it, and then you have to keep doing it. You have to get it right a certain number of times in a row before people start harping on the fact that it always takes you 3 tries or whatever. And they just haven't done it.
So it looks like they're about to begin. So here comes the stream.
Zu den IFA International Keynotes. Bitte nehmen
Somebody
Sie
with a
Ihre
generic
Plätze
European
ein,
accent is talking.
Exactly.
Ihre Mobiltelefone auszuschalten. Vielen Dank für Ihr
I know,
Verständnis.
clearly a German.
Und jetzt bitten wir
Why not? It's
Sie
Berlin.
Ihre Aufmerksamkeit.
I'm not sure what it is that they just announced.
We should have placed bets on what they would announce. We've missed an opportunity
darn it.
here.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon, everyone. And
That's IFA's Greg Shapiro, or whatever that guy is called at CES.
Welcome to IFA 2015. It's still the very first day. I hope most of you made it. Managed to listen to Dr. Zambom Hon.
Or Gary, is it Gary Shapiro?
You have missed a fascinating glimpse of the future.
He made a quip that points out the fact that we're all exhausted from IFA, but in fact it starts today.
Yeah, right. We've had several days of announcements.
Yeah.
As a wallpaper. And
It's kind of a usurping of the point of the show, isn't it? It must be awful for this organization.
Yeah.
They are central to user experience, but even more important, it's what's powering the user interface. Software. You will be hard-pressed to find many exhibits here at IFA that don't rely on some good lines of a computer code.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
There's no
Paste this a little more if you could.
Microsoft Windows.
Jeez.
I'm
I
using
think we
computer
can all
code
agree.
right now.
Whether you're a foe or a friend, Windows
it
has
hurt?
played a huge role in your life.
Sometimes.
Microsoft, of course, has a long history here at IFA. You have seen its software powering the devices of many of our exhibitors.
I think he's setting the stage for what we're going to see.
Microsoft has its own stand here at IFA in Hall 25.
Ooh, Microsoft has a stand.
And I'm especially pleased
They're selling
that
tacos.
Microsoft delivers a keynote here at IFA. So, willkommen in Berlin. And Microsoft's timing is impeccable. There's an important year for the
That
company.
may be a stretch.
The launch of Windows 10.
I think,
you all know
it's
it.
an important year every year
New
for
devices
Microsoft,
from
right?
Microsoft partners around the world. And that's especially interesting because Windows 10 works across the full range of computing platforms. To tell you more about the next generation of Windows devices, please welcome Nick Parker, the Corporate Vice President of Microsoft's OEM division.
And that says everything you need to know right there.
Yep.
Yeah, I think so. Still be surprised.
These are the kind of magical moments that we live for.
You know, sending the dollar to send an interesting message.
And Windows 10 will support the broadest device family ever.
The Windows world needs to get past devices that look exactly like MacBook Airs as well, by the way.
Yeah. They're depicting a world where everybody uses Windows devices. It's like one of those movies where Microsoft is doing the product placement.
Yeah. I live in one of those movies.
Yeah.
It's not a bad place.
And here we go.
Welcome and thank you for coming. At Microsoft, our mission is to empower every person and organization on the planet to achieve more. That mission is grounded in our worldview of what we see today, but also what we strive for with our partners in the future. And when we talk about a mobile-first, cloud-first world, we don't just talk about the mobility of the device. We talk about the mobility of the experience. That's the mobility of the things that matter to you most, wherever you are, and the ability to get access to those in a secure, reliable, and incredibly rich way. And the transformation that we are driving at Microsoft through both our technology as well as our business models is to enable our customers, our partners, and Microsoft to be successful through that mission. Our strategy is clear. And our strategy is to build the best-in-class platforms and productivity services for this mobile-first, cloud-first world. And when we think about how we realize that strategy, for us it's about our three core ambitions. We don't believe that anybody else can deliver against these ambitions in such an interconnected,
You should be more
impactful,
positive about
and
it.
seamless way.
Yep.
And that's why we're very proud with our partners, our customers, with IT and developers.
It's possible
to
someone
bring
else can do
these
it better.
three
We
together
don't think so.
as part of our core strategy that we will deliver. The opportunity is huge. Devices are pivotal in every part of those ambitions. And it's this opportunity that we build our partnerships with the people and the devices you'll see in the room today. Whether you cut the data as the total number of devices we'll sell this year, 509 million, whether you cut the data of how many
I hate the
Windows
language of the
users
first
we
10
already
minutes of
have,
every keynote.
1.5 billion.
Devices are pivotal.
Or you look at
right.
the future
I don't
potential
even-
we have.
There's my
to help
headline.
People with older devices, over 600 million.
It's the
Computing is
marketing jargon
important.
over
lottery
4
here.
years old. or the increase in the number of services consumed on the devices. As we think about our partnerships and how we're investing in the future across those ambitions and our technologies, you can only get excited about imagining the experiences customers and businesses can have and the sheer potential of this market size. The market opportunity is built on Windows 10. And these are the 4 areas of value that customers are most excited about in Windows 10, and frankly, what's most different about Windows 10. The first being, it's familiar and up to date. I'm sure you all love the new interface with some familiar areas. And also, what's different in 10 is how this operating system will stay up to date.
Manchurian Candidate drinking game term.
This is an operating system that will continue to add value through its life cycle. As new capabilities are invented, they will come in through these regular updates rather than the previous model. And that means a device will get better through its life cycle. Safety and security is something that we all demand from our technology today. And there is no change with our continued commitment with Windows 10 to that. In fact, it gets even better in Windows 10. As both a consumer that cares about you and your life and your family online, or whether you're a business with your most precious corporate assets at the very farthest reaches of your mobile network. When we think about our enterprise-class biometric platform, with a feature such as Windows Hello, which gives you enterprise-grade face unlock for your PC, you really start to see the investment you can have in the technology. And whether it's something as simple as no more passwords, or whether it's something as serious as enterprise-grade.
Uh-oh. Our enterprise-class video streaming is
being more personal.
I'd give anything for Apple to break into the stream right now.
Is something that we just get delighted by in our technology. And Cortana is bringing that to you in an incredible way in terms of how we can interact, and you'll see more from that later, in new and simple ways with our technology. And with our single application platform now covering our devices, from phones through to phablets, through to tablets,
I will say this, the story they have this year is so much better than it was 3 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, those people must have stood up on stage with a sense of dread, knowing that this was all going to fall apart. They knew that day it was a disaster, you know. This is a completely different story.
We have such great momentum already. And so thank you for all of you who are part of these numbers. But we have 75 million devices already running Windows 10 in the first month. 90,000 individual device models running Windows 10. Thanks to the incredible engineering and partnership we have with our OEM and our device partners, from the components all the way through. This is how we run this new operating system. You know, there's a couple of fun facts here. 122 years of Xbox streamed onto PCs. Now, this is a new capability in Windows 10. And that's the ability to play Xbox and stream it onto a PC. And another fun fact that I love to talk about here is since Windows 10's launch, we've actually had 10 million level achievements within Xbox. And then finally, in 192 countries, Windows 10 is running with customers using it. And this is a month.
Well, that's
get better from here. So without any further ado, it's my pleasure to introduce Brian and Windows 10. Brian.
Hey, thanks,
man. Family Guy.
How y'all doing this afternoon?
This is the fun guy.
Whoa, you excited to be here? All right, a couple folks in the front. Well, hey, I'm Brian, and I'm going to walk you through some Windows 10 today. Right from the bat, we knew we wanted to make Windows 10 the most familiar experience that our users could find possible. You know, no matter what version of Windows you're coming from, when you turn on your PC, you see a desktop. When you click Start,
we're going
you see a menu. These are things that we know make our users feel familiar. They're already an expert from the start as soon as they get Windows 10.
Being done by somebody who's not even important enough to have a last name.
The taskbar and our jump list. So if you right-click on anything on your taskbar there, we have jump lists. We brought those back to 10. Now, more in this menu. Your most frequently used things are right there, so the apps that I interact with the most, they're right there for me to get to. More idea of that personal there. Recently added apps are here, so I'll engage with those more frequently. Yeah. As well as some cool little adjustments here. Power and settings are right next to that start button on the menu.
I hope he's enjoying this demo.
Yeah,
because we can't see it.
Can't see it,
as Jason pointed out.
Well, sometimes it's better if you imagine it. It's like reading a book. My version of jump lists is so much better than the way they really did it.
Exactly.
Mary Jo reports that this person is Brian Roper.
Huh.
Oh, and he's got a cool little, a soulful singer.
Yeah.
But of course, we kept a lot of the good love from 8. We have the
so I think this is an error on the part of the camera person. I'm sure what he's doing is on a big screen there.
I care about, whether it's my calendar, my mail. You know, I don't have to actually open these apps to see the important information that I care about.
That's poorly done. If only there were a way to show a split screen view.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be amazing?
Like we're doing.
Yeah.
They need
right. Except instead of me, you saw the screen. Yeah,
look at that.
Yeah.
Can you throw a couple of CNNs on there too?
Hi, from in the basement.
That's a good view too.
This is our mail app.
It looks like a Windows flag. Could you maybe contort it so that it is the shape of the Windows 10 flag?
Do some color overlays.
Keep the guys busy there at TWiT.
Take advantage of one universal API to write code and apps one time and enable them to scale beautifully across any screen size. From
this is incredible.
To a tablet,
wake me up when he's done talking about Windows 10.
He's wearing the traditional German and Hawaiian. Yeah.
And one thing that's awesome about this, you know, our app, it launched full screen, but I can just pull this down and I can run it in a window. So I can treat this the way I've always treated any window that I've ever used while using it.
Are they aware of the audience that they were talking to? That these people know these things?
Right.
This is not like on ABC, TV.
Its entire UI to be more conducive to whatever layout I want.
I mean, Windows 10 only came out a couple of months ago, not even a month and a half ago.
Make some
and
noise
this
if you
still
use
feels like
Alt-Tab
old
today.
news.
Who uses Alt-Tab?
They're going to do the Alt-Tab.
A lot of folks. It's a great feature.
6%.
We found out that a very small percentage of our users were using Alt-Tab. And I talked to my mom. She's not a power user. She doesn't use Alt-Tab.
He talks like he's selling a blender.
So we really did a lot of work to democratize those kind of products
and features
and make them
you'll
available
get
to everyone.
Snap for free.
Now we have a task view button. With one click, you can see everything running. It's right on the taskbar. One click, there's everything that's running right there. And this is also the gateway to my new
I don't mind this guy's demeanor. I just feel like
the addition of multiple desktops.
Presenting
so you
nothing
can create
new.
Additional spaces.
Right. Not his fault.
This is like they said, you've got an hour to present. And I said, crap, we got to fill at least another 20 minutes. What are we going to do?
So the whole time I've been doing
this has been something of a pandemic at IFA because essentially all the keynotes are playing to the Berlin audience in the room.
Right.
Instead of the world. And so I think that's a huge mistake.
This, by the way, might explain why. Well, you're saying over the course of this week, you mean, already?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, the Sony event was like this. The Asus event was like this.
Sure.
They don't seem to. I mean, again, you know, it's like, could you imagine Apple doing that? They're so good at marketing, so good at spinning. Could you imagine Apple coming on stage in Berlin and ignoring the global audience and just talking to the press in the room? It's like, it would never happen.
This becomes especially useful on your larger screens. And here's the cool thing. It took me a couple clicks to do that, but guess what? I don't have to break those windows when I want to go do something else. I can swap to my other desktop where I have stuff running. So again, a lot of work done to empower productivity, and it's only going to get better. One thing I want to call out, we have just over 7 million Windows insiders, folks that have been with us, enthusiasts from the beginning, testing our builds, giving us ideas. And you know, we're going to keep acting on that feedback. One simple thing I'll call out here is the ability to take one app and move it to another desktop.
I believe that 7 million number
we got
is
from our
new.
Windows Insider
They'd only been
said, hey,
saying 6 million for a while. So
we built it.
So
we also did a lot of work with how the taskbar
insiders.
works and what it shows you.
And those guys have not been with them from the beginning. Not to be pedantic about it, but
and we're going to continue to act on that feedback, make Windows better, and you'll get those updates, you know, as part of Windows as a service. So I'm super excited about that. What do you guys think so far?
Super excited. Microsoft key term.
I'm glad.
Now, the next thing I want to talk about an operating system that has been available publicly for a couple of months now.
And as you know, we're investing
I would say arguably everyone who's interested in what's happening here knows that.
Yes. And is using it.
Maybe is the problem. Yeah, it's already is. And is using it to take notes in the audience for this event.
That's right. Huh. Interesting feature you can type in this.
Tell me more about this Windows Hello that I'm using to log into my PC here. It's, come on, Microsoft.
But this is a 2-in-1 device. So imagine you fold it in half, you take off the keyboard, whatever cool, neat way you make the switch.
Don't fold
I'm going
it
to enter
half, really.
tablet mode right now with the
yeah, crunch. Center. Oh, wait, no, this wasn't
And when I'm in tablet mode now, a couple interesting things happen. Number one, my apps are all full screen, as I'm likely going to want to use them in a tablet environment. Number two, my edge gestures can become very useful. I can swipe from the left to bring up that same task view that I showed you earlier.
See what I can see.
Or I can swipe from the right to bring up the Action Center. This is the new Action Center.
I keep thinking there's a DVR
next to the Action Center on a Windows phone. It looks just the same. I can take action on different.
Is there a part where they talk about it? Oh, no, wait, we have to wait.
Sent me a picture here. There's no way.
We're going to go through all this, and there's going to be one OEM phone. That's going to be it.
Like Wi-Fi, everything you want to do. So those edge gestures are very useful in tablet mode.
And it will be a low-end phone with 4 gigs of storage.
I probably want to use it that way. Some other things I want to call out are the way that you interact with snapping. You know, if you were in touch before, if you wanted to snap windows and move them around, you might have had to go.
See, here you can actually kind of see what he's talking about.
Revolutionary hand gesture.
And snap something to the side and choose the Mail app. And let me show you something neat. I called out the universal app difference there. Look, if I scale this,
oh boy!
Look how these apps again, they're changing their identity to run on the.
It's really too bad they're not showing this. As uninteresting as this would be, still to most of us, an actual demo of what he's showing would make more sense than watching him.
He's even pointing to the screen that we can't see.
Right. If we were to pan the live stream left, would we see the demo? I mean,
the thing that concerns me is why isn't there a Microsoft person running over in a panic to scream at the cameraman and say, show this demo. We're streaming live here.
I'll let you guys look up the stats, but we're doing amazing in some of the benchmarks, speed tests versus other browsers. A lot of good momentum there. But what I want to call out is how awesome this is. If I'm looking at these awesome performances that are coming up at the Berlin Philharmonic, I can simply go here and
as Brad
choose to
pointed
ink
out on Twitter, this is a nice demo of the back of laptop lids.
Yeah.
They should have sold advertisements on it. I mean, they're giving them plenty of screen time.
Yeah.
Although it looks like, what is that, a Lamborghini? Is that a Lamborghini model? Whatever, there's Acer or Asus, I can never remember laptops there.
The other thing is, what's going on with the device he's using? There seems to be a screen in front of another screen or something.
So I believe what this is a 2-in-1 or a tablet, and that's probably something either propping it up, or it's folded back over itself, maybe.
So we can't actually see even the back of the lid that he's referring to.
Yep. That's
if I left out a certain person. Who am I talking about? Who am I leaving out so far? Cortana.
Everyone in the audience,
Cortana.
actually.
Cortana is the world's most personal digital assistant. Okay, you may have heard the name from Halo. Our Windows Phone users have loved Cortana to date. Cortana uses the things that she knows about you in order to help you complete tasks. But it's very transparent. At any point, you can see what Cortana knows and have her forget stuff. You always know what's in there. But yeah, so for example, if I ask for a place to eat, I tend to like barbecue and meat, as you can probably tell by looking at me. I'm not a vegetarian, so Cortana's not going to recommend a vegetarian restaurant for me necessarily because she knows my likes. Cortana can recommend, hey, traffic's bad. You should probably leave for your next meeting because she's looking at my calendar and monitoring traffic. Super personal suggestions to empower me to do the things that I want to do. And now in Windows 10, built right into the OS. So there's all kind of cool phone stuff that Cortana's done in the past. I want to start off and just show you some of the really neat, interesting, and powerful PC-specific things that Cortana does. One of the ones, I don't know if you're like me, I struggle with just
webcam software that keeps the camera on your face.
So I can have Cortana help me with that
If
kind of
only
stuff.
there was technology that...
Hey, Cortana.
Or a human being.
Yeah.
What's 2.8 times 10.5?
We are now doing math at a Keynote.
Oh,
as you can see, the answer is correct.
Try one more time here. Hey, Cortana, what's 2.8 times 10? So we're having some audio issues there. Sometimes in these large Keynote environments, it's a little bit harder with the echo than it is in your home. I'll try one more, which is the form of a file search. I don't know if you're like me. I lose files all the time, forgetting where I save them. Cortana can actually look through your device and the cloud.
I have a phrase for this type of Microsoft event, by the way. It's called Microsoft punching itself in the face.
Yeah.
Hey, Cortana.
You know? There's no reason for this.
Slides about the charity auction. So just like that, we had, you know, better with the luck there. You can see this is searching my OneDrive as well as my personal device.
He does pan when he moves to the left or right. What is that person thinking? Does he think that the guy's giving a speech? And that,
well, clearly the cameraman doesn't care about the content
or speak English.
Yeah, or speaking, by the way, or speak English.
Well, we haven't been proven that they have more than one camera either. I mean, this is the only shot we've seen since the inception.
We don't actually even have evidence that there's anything on a big screen.
That's right. Right. It's actually, we don't have audience that he's speaking, or evidence he's speaking to an audience either.
No trickery, look at this.
So Mary Jo pointed out to me that it's possible this is in fact IFA's stream, and that Microsoft actually might not have any say on how this is presented to the outside world.
It's interesting. I mean, they're presenting it as a Microsoft thing on the page.
Just that quickly.
Yep.
So not only is this super enterprise grade, secure.
I mean, honestly, who we blame in some ways doesn't matter. This is terrible.
Right.
What I'm imagining is he's going to go through a set of device demos, and he'll stand away from the devices, and we'll just hear him describe how awesome they are. At which point I think we can all go just go to breakfast and call it a day.
I'm going to do a search for mine.
When he's showing us the new devices, they'll be showing. That's when they'll show the screen.
Right.
They'll walk us through the software.
Yeah, perfect storm.
Again, no matter what store you're using. Well, now when I go ahead and click on the $9.99 here to buy this, you can see it's going to look for me.
Nope,
I'm going to step in front, and just like this, it says, "Hello, Brian Roper. Select OK to continue."
That was really quick. It seemed like a great product. Where do I buy this?
Extending to other areas. So we're super excited about Windows Hello. And again, once you're enrolled, your data, your face, that stays locked on the device. It's not in the cloud. It's super safe and secure. It's right there.
Serious screen time there.
What do you guys think so far? Cool. How about
cue audience applause from all in the family.
Who likes the game here? Any gamers?
Oh my goodness, they're really going to do the whole.
Hello, sir. I got something for you. Awesome. So
now we're going to get
gaming's huge for us, right here. This is Asus ROG gaming laptop. I love this device. It's pretty awesome. And I'm playing one of my favorite games here, Goat Simulator. I want to call out in Windows 10, Xbox One controllers are plug and play, so you can plug those in and use them with any game, whether it's from the Windows Store or a more in-depth game that you're running as a PC fan. I'm going to run over here. I don't like how these people are dancing. I'm going to threaten them. They're not leaving. That's it.
I think I can speak on behalf of everyone and say that sounds great.
I've attacked the people with my goat. I find it hilarious. I want to share this with my friends. Windows 10 is built for gamers. With one click, the Xbox app will let me actually come in here, bring up Game DVR. You can see that game clip's been recorded. And I've jumped to my Xbox app now, and you can see in the app, it's recorded the clip. I can actually come in and even trim this clip to the funny part where I attacked the guy. And
really
I can share this on my Xbox network. So all my friends can see that. I can chat with them. They can see my achievements, even though I'm playing from a PC. In addition to that, you're going to see a ton of our titles launching on console and PC at the same time. It's going to drive a lot of cross-platform play and interaction between both platforms. So we really believe that's going to be powerful. And lastly, to Nick's point previously, we have over a century of Xbox in-home streaming time that's been happening. That means, you have your house. Let's say mom and dad want to watch a show, but the kids want a game. No problem. With this Xbox app, you can actually use your PC to kind of remote control the Xbox, and you can game right on your PC, controlling that Xbox, undisturbing of the other parts of the family. So over a century of time that people have logged on that so far. What do you guys think? All right. Now, folks, that's only one part of the equation. That's the software. That's Windows 10. That's what I'm excited and passionate about. But there's a whole other side, and that's the hardware. And to show you some of that, I'm going to welcome Nick back to the stage. Make some noise for him.
Hey, thanks. Hey, thanks. Hey, good job. Good job.
But first, Nick is going to play Goat Simulator.
Windows 10, or at least a few of the features that we just love to demonstrate. And now it's all about the hardware. This is the incredible innovation, the incredible ideas, and some of the most exciting IP that we've seen as we combine some of those new features in Windows 10 with some of the new hardware innovation to bring together new experiences that we've never been able to do before until we had the combination of the two. Now, one thing I will say, and I'll give approximate US dollar prices for these products, is please be aware that obviously prices will change by region as well as availability. And so just bear that in mind. And you can always go to Newsroom for other still images or high-def images of some of these products where available. So I'm going to start off by talking about education devices. And no better way to start than with the Acer Aspire One Cloudbook. There's a lot of reasons to love this device. And if you think of the education environment, you know, it's thin and light, 18.5 millimeters, very nice device, stylish, thin, you can see that. One of the great things about this is it has 2 mics for Cortana, so it's ready for Skype, it's ready for Cortana, but also it's $169 US. So that is an incredible device for education.
Probably the only reason I consider
of course,
this
you've got
device.
Local storage, so it's great online
also been on the
as well
market
as
for a
offline,
month.
which is a key differentiator to its
Excellent,
competitors.
excellent
but
news
a very
here.
nice device there from Acer.
No, they got it. I mean, this is their Chromebook fighter. They have to talk. By the way, made by, I believe, the world's biggest maker of Chromebooks, Acer. But it's important to show that kind of thing off.
Okay. Take your word for it.
As we scowl.
19 millimeters thin, easy to carry, and a 12-hour battery. That's something that any pupil in school, or in fact anyone looking for that great value PC, would be super happy to buy. And again, starting at $229. So incredible design. Love the team at the Lenovo for that. And that red color is very, very, very fun. Now, the business notebooks continue to just provide the workhorses that power the world. And this next device, and I'm only going to show you a sneak peek on the slide because you won't have ever heard about this before, and you can actually get the high-res image on Newsroom, is the Dell Latitude 11. This is the new 2-in-1 from Dell, and a 6th generation Intel Core, as well as being thin and light, having Windows Hello, and with vPro, you've got that hardware security and reliability that you want in your business PC. So new today, you'll hear more of that coming soon, but great to see the Dell team. Now, the HP EliteBook, this is the HP EliteBook.
Okay, so we didn't get to see that one, I guess.
The EliteBook Folio. And again, a beautiful thin device.
So, by the way, this is a beautiful machine. It has that MacBook-style kind of touchpad. In fact, had it before Apple did. This device has been on the market for quite a while, and obviously is now shipping with Windows 10. But this is a beautiful device.
Which are pretty critical here, and it's got one of the thinnest and lightest screens you can actually see. The best thing about these devices is you have all of the ports that you actually need in business. I don't know if you can see. You have all of the ports there, including the ability for docking station and port replication. Full high HDMI, and again, second USBs, as well as micro there as well. Very, very powerful business PCs, and incredibly popular for professionals. The last of the business PCs I would like to talk about is the Lenovo ThinkPad Yoga 460. This is the ThinkPad here. So again, taking that incredible Yoga design, getting it even thinner and lighter. It's multi-mode, you know, the traditional multi-mode that everyone's come to love in terms of the Lenovo design.
This is one I'm actually personally interested in, by the way. 14-inch fingerprint reader at Windows Hello.
Fingerprint sensor for Windows 10, as well as obviously the waterproof lift and lock keyboard that we've seen demonstrated.
That's a growing trend, thankfully, started by Dell.
As well for mobile broadband. So for a professional on the go that wants to be connected everywhere with that great Lenovo ThinkPad brand, very nice device with the Yoga 360, touch and type, great business PC. Now, one area where you're probably not used to seeing Windows 10 branding, and you may not realize that Windows is actually powering some of those devices, is in our IoT versions of Windows. And in fact, the first device you saw on the screen there was a video poker machine from Windows. We also do machines that run our Windows IoT versions, such as ATMs, such as gas pumps, and medical devices. This is Windows under the hood, being powered by IoT, and also leveraging the power of Azure to provide business insight, business data, as well as just make incredible new experiences for businesses and consumers alike, combining the two. But again, it's under the hood. You won't be used to that Windows branding, but we have a pretty successful business doing that with our partners. As we think about specialized devices, Panasonic
one of the things to keep in mind about IoT here, and when Windows Redstone arrives next year, roughly in the June timeframe, I'm hearing that there's going to be some more IoT integration into the desktop. I don't quite know what that means yet, but they're still kind of building that out for tying it back into the desktop.
I think the untold story with Windows 10 is just kind of how unfinished it is in many ways. It's solid, it's really good, but there are really kind of key parts of it that just kind of aren't there yet.
Right.
Well, this TWiT Live special is brought to you by Braintree. If you're working on a mobile app and searching for the right payments API, check out Braintree V.0 SDK. With one simple integration, your customers get every way to pay. To learn more and to try out the sandbox, go to braintreepayments.com/TWiT. So in case you didn't notice, this episode is brought to you by Braintree. All right, back to Microsoft.
These sensors everything from barometric pressure to temperature to G to GPS.
Have you seen this before,
and so
Paul?
on. And this actual device here, this data logger, has a battery life of about 6 months. So the kind of scenario that you would imagine here is any precious cargo that you have traveling around the world. Or maybe it's in a shipping container, maybe it's a boat. And this
so
data logger is able to log from those 20 sensors all of that data, go through a gateway or a satellite uplink, and connect directly with Azure. And this is where we start to see some of the incredible business solutions.
IoT is important. I get that. There's a weird disconnect here between, we just ran through all the UX features of Windows 10. We talk about consumer and business desktops, and now we're talking about like a GPS tracking system for shipping containers. You know, I mean, I get that this is all part of Windows, and it speaks to the diversity of Windows. It's a little off.
Decision making, and this is really where you start to see the power of IoT bringing real meaningful business value with our hardware partners to solutions like this. Now I'm going to change gears and move to a category that has double-digit growth. We know it as the all-in-one category. And no better way to start than with the Dell Inspiron 24. This is a beautiful 24-inch screen, edge-to-edge touch. You can see here
we just learned that 2 cameras, Mike.
And with the Windows Hello
good to know.
So this is the future of these desktops that we see in the home, whether you're just changing into this kind of core desktop mode where you've got touch and type, or whether you want to play a family game where each of your family members is going to recognize with their face and it bring up the things that me or my 6-year-old daughter really want to see when we log into our PCs. It's thin, edge-to-edge touch. The next device here is the Asus Zen All-in-One. And this is a device that continues to wow people at the show with its just sheer beauty. And the team from Asus have brought that design language and style that you'd expect from them. Again, 24-inch screen. Now, this device,
nothing like a Mac.
This device will actually have a 4K option.
Not at all.
This device has the Windows Hello camera you can see there, and will bring incredible graphics power. So whether it's professional photography is the thing that you want to work on this, or gaming, with the
do either of you use an all-in-one PC?
Graphics cards in the device,
no, I do not.
coupled with that core Intel processor, you see incredible capability.
I've lately been using an Asus Chrome base, which is an all-in-one.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's not great, but it's not bad. The screen quality suffers, and the performance is horrible.
How big is the screen?
It is, oh gosh, what is it? I think it's a 21-inch screen.
Okay.
It's a nice form factor, and I like these things that have the kickstand. You can just pull it up.
Yes, you can kind of pull it down and rearrange it.
Yep. It's oddly enough great for doing shows. I did a Twig with this in front of me, and it's a huge screen, but it's low. You have it's like sort of.
Can you? Does it support touch?
Yes, it's a touch display.
Because I think that would make all the difference in the world.
Oh yeah, it would be nice if Chrome OS had a touch display interface, but that'd help a lot.
21-inch full HD device with pen support as an option, as well as mobile broadband as an option. 249 euros for a 10.1-inch device. This is absolutely beautiful. I don't know if you can see the shiny edge here with this really nice effect that's mirrored on the keyboard.
Nice that the screen didn't rotate.
And then we can take it apart. And it's a very nice
welcome to Windows
design, very thin.
I'll just hold it so there
device. This is the Trextor Volks Tablet 4 from the team at Trextor.
These kind of thin and light machines are really pretty looking.
Now I'm going to move into
amazed how many very
notebooks.
small Windows
and this
devices
is a device we actually bought last week running
that.
Windows 10. And this is the HP Pavilion 15. These are very high volume selling devices running Intel Core i3, touchscreen as you can see here. And this device we bought for $399. It's a 15-inch laptop.
If you look up the term PC in the dictionary, you'll see a picture of this machine.
Full height ports on both sides, and you can see there it actually has an optical DVD drive. So for $399, DVD drive, full height ports, 15-inch, bringing touch to the masses. And this is where, when you see the touch applications in Windows 10, you can really start to bring your PC alive in these multi-modes, whether it's just getting stuff done, writing an email, doing homework, or whether it's paging through a shopping catalog or just pages of the internet where you're doing research. It's great to see that touch and type come together. This next device, some of you may have already seen launched this week, but this is another one of these new devices from ASUS, who just have not stopped the innovation this year between Zen and Republic of Gamers. This is the ROG, or the Republic of Gamers, G752 gaming notebook. Let me just unplug it here. 17-inch screen.
Yeah, I don't think you can take that on an airplane.
17.3-inch screen. This is from approximately $1,399. 6th generation Intel, NVIDIA GTX 980.
Looks like it's got about 27 ports on the side of it.
But it has anti-dust cooling system. Now, for any of you people out there that do game, that overclock both their GPUs as well as their CPUs, you generate heat. And this has a very, very good innovation rear exhaust that will exhaust the heat from both the CPU as well as the GPU. And this is the kind of innovation that really stimulates these notebook, particularly the gaming notebook markets that you see here. And with anti-ghost gaming keys and this red backlit keyboard,
I guess this is a big deal, by the way. I mean, HP and Lenovo have separately told me very recently that this is a growth market for the PC industry, the gaming laptops.
And it's a rare category with solid margins. The volume is
the expectation
lower,
is right. These things will be expensive. We know that, and it's okay. And
from the design team at Toshiba, this is the Toshiba Radius 12. And firstly, you can see it's a beautiful design. It's that 12-inch screen. You've got that edge-to-edge glass, starting at $899. The thing I love about this machine, it has all of those hardware capabilities that light up the new features of Windows 10. So it has the array mics for Cortana. It has Windows Hello face unlock. So this notebook has their Windows Hello compatible camera, as well as having a 4K screen option.
Did Microsoft say how
long their Keynote would be? Intel Core processor. This is an incredible.
I think they said it was an eternity.
With the Harman Kardon speakers from Toshiba, and it's just beautiful. Look at that.
No, I assume it's an hour.
You can see
it looks like they're just moving very quickly from device to device.
Let me just show you the hinge here.
Because if they don't even talk about phones, that will be very interesting.
Right. No, I bet they get to phone. I bet they do.
You get all of that use from the 360 hinge, so you can use it in full
looks really
tablet
nice.
touch mode, as well as a PC.
As usual.
The Toshiba innovation doesn't stop there, and this is just absolutely phenomenal. And again, you won't have seen this. It's a sneak peek. I'm not even going to talk about the name. It's a new Toshiba 2-in-1, and first time ever you'll have seen this. So Murato-san and the team have just absolutely surpassed themselves.
I thought we had seen this.
So this is the very, very light keyboard. I don't know if you can see that there.
Okay, so that's just a tablet with an additional keyboard, almost Surface-esque, I guess, because you can't clamshell it.
But it just sits into a groove, and presumably doesn't have
a keyboard.
Resolution.
I'll tell you what, if the Surface fits in that, that could be a winner.
How you'd
finally get a decent keyboard.
Is just phenomenal. A beautiful, full-blown Windows 10 PC, Toshiba 2-in-1, and you'll hear much more about this device in the coming weeks. Just tremendous to see the innovation from the Toshiba team. So we're really breaking boundaries as we start to think about new software capability powered by new hardware capability in these stunning designs. I just want to say thank you to all of our hardware partners for the incredible innovation that they will deliver to bring these amazing Windows 10 devices to people across the world. Thank you very much for your partnership. Thank you.
Wow.
Is that it?
That was terrible.
Oh my goodness, we saw nothing.
All right, so let's review what we just witnessed. Nick Parker came out. He talked about the importance of devices. Talked about what's different about Windows 10. Talked about enterprise technology. Trotted out the 75 million Windows device number, which I think came out a month ago. That's for the first month, which is an impressive number, and that Windows is being used in 192 countries. Brian Roper came out.
Also not new, by the way. 192 is not new.
Yeah. Brian Roper came out and demoed Windows 10 like nobody had ever seen it before. And of course, we didn't see it either. So
that is amazing.
And then he played Goat Simulator, and then Nick Parker came back out and demoed a huge number of devices, most of which have been on the market and for sale for a long time. A couple of new things. The Acer gaming laptop was new this week, but this was from what I can tell, Brad, this was. They had assumed nobody had ever heard of Windows 10, and that the audience there was just unfamiliar with Windows devices.
Maybe they carted in a bunch of local housewives or something. Like, I don't know what was the point. I don't even quite understand.
If you're in the press, if you're in the media, and you go to a Windows event like this, when there are a bunch of simultaneous things going on at IFA. Then that's your beat. You have the Windows beat. You are deeply and profoundly familiar with everything they just said. Everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you just hit it on the head, Mike. Because you got to think too. Not only do these people know what's going on, but they're giving up at least an hour of their time, probably 30 minutes on either side, so 2 hours. That they say to their editor, okay, I'm going to go to this keynote for 2 hours, and you go back to your editor when you're done, and you say, okay, what are you going to write up? And you look them square in the eyes, and you say there was nothing.
I'm going to retweet something that I wrote in June. How does that sound?
Yeah. Devices are pivotal.
Devices are pivotal. Microsoft, thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah, there was.
By the way, no Windows phones, no Windows 10 mobile.
Yeah.
There was some Windows IoT, which I thought was out of place, frankly, for that keynote. I mean, words escape.
Well, the reason that expectation existed, Paul, is that they said Windows 10 lights up new devices.
Yeah.
Which devices were new? Which of these devices were new?
The one they wouldn't tell us their name.
That was amazing.
At the very end, I mean,
that was amazing. Here's an awesome device. I'm not even going to tell you its name. It's so good. Listen, I've said this many times. I just want to publicly thank Microsoft for your failure to communicate. You've given me a wonderful career, and I mean, I appreciate it. It's your inability to ever get this right has just made me, just have a lifestyle. I mean, it's nice.
So much to talk about.
The one thing this keynote did do, it makes both of us feel very good that we did not get on a plane and go to Berlin.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, halfway through this, I would have gotten up and gone outside and had a beer somewhere. I mean, that's incredible, to go all that way. I always kind of wonder about the IFA thing because it's clearly a big event for phones if you're not Microsoft. And that stuff is very interesting. The Samsung, Sony, well, not so much Samsung, I guess. Sony, Lenovo / Motorola, lots of nice announcements this week. But this was, they made a point of saying this year Microsoft has a booth, right? Now, clearly that booth is about Windows 10, and I sort of get that. But that makes more sense than them doing this keynote and announcing nothing.
I mean, I think the company that's done the best job of using IFA to actually announce new things and interesting things is Asus. They previewed a water-cooled laptop, which Microsoft trotted out 2 days after the fact. They showed what they claim is the world's fastest router. Looks like a horrible spider thing. They have a $120 Windows 10 PC on a stick thing. Not earth-shattering, but compared to Sony and Microsoft and most of the other major companies that are announced here, they made an effort to withhold information and then release it in their IFA event. Microsoft, though, there was literally, well, nothing new. There were a couple of devices that were newish.
You're giving them way too much credit. This was an opportunity to card out third-party Windows 10 mobile devices, tablets and phones. We did not see a single mini tablet at this event at all, Atom or otherwise. Windows 10 for PCs or Windows 10 mobile, either one. And that is astonishing to me. If you were to eliminate every device that we saw today that you would term a PC, you'd be able to count them on one hand, and none of them were particularly interesting.
All right. Well, I think we can go ahead and wrap this up. And I want to thank you guys for this. This is kind of fun to heckle. I was joking at the beginning saying that we would heckle through the whole thing, but there was really literally nothing else to do.
There was nothing to do.
Oh, Mike, I'm going to continue to heckle this for hours to come.
Thank you. I'll be following your stream, and I'll pause TNT with each new tweet to highlight it and bring attention to it. So yeah, very fascinating that they would miss this opportunity. You know, 1 week before the Big Apple announcement.
Yeah, nothing to combat.
Is something happening next week?
No, no. All right, gentlemen. Well, Paul Thurott is at Thurott.com. That's THURROTT.com. And you can follow his missives and come on, follow him on Twitter immediately or you're going to miss
missives.
A barrage of snarky comments. Paul, thank you so much for coming on this live stream. All right. And Brad Sams, thank you for coming on as well. Executive editor at Petri and a prolific writer. And you've been on Tech. I've had you on Tech News Today, I think, once.
Tech News Today, and I've been on Windows Weekly before. So it's been around the block. And Paul and I have known each other, unfortunately, for many years.
Yes.
He's like the family I can't get rid of. He's just always there.
Yeah.
The feeling is mutual, Paul.
Well, Brad. Yeah, Brad, thank you so much for coming on this stream. I appreciate it. And, you know, they could have announced something. I said I would be surprised if they didn't surprise us, and count me surprised. Brad, thanks again for coming on the stream.
Yep, very much appreciated.
All right, gentlemen. Well, this concludes our live stream and live blab of Microsoft's IFA press conference. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you got something out of it. I didn't, but I hope you did, and so we'll be seeing additional news, lots of news, because of course IFA just launched today, so we're going to see lots of news coming out of IFA, and this show is going to continue through the weekend and into next week. So check out Tech News Today at 10 a.m. Pacific every single weekday, and also Tech News Tonight at 4 p.m. Pacific for all the news that's going to be coming out of IFA. So with that, I bid you adieu. My name is Mike Elgan, and thanks for tuning in.